go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with a woman in the red dress. She takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you're in quite a pickle. What do you mean? Like, playing dumb seems like the best idea for now. Also, guys, I think if this continues with so much text, I'll be playing another game in like half an hour because my throat is going to quit otherwise. What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime is here. Poor thing, this really isn't your fault. But if you want to get out of here in one piece, you'll need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night you became a vampire. Wait, what? Yes, I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds, and the reason why we have these nice words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire, the fact remains. The beings called vampire, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around, some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale. Really pale. Mostly hold a glass of wine. No, not wine. That is not the right thickness. That is not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, and there is no denying it. And your breathing has not returned, and your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" on repeat. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design, Kadir deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If you do nothing, you will be cut down as sure as the day follows the night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood, and your defendants to Kadir will work in your favor. Deference to Kadir will work in your favor. You might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect onto me, and if they reflect negatively, I will make sure you face the consequences. What happens if I agree? I think this is quite a important question to ask. Like, what happens? Like, am I going to be cut down anyway because I'm I'm under your responsibility and you decide not to like me, you cut me down anyway, or anything else? Suppose I say yes, what happens then? You survive, hopefully, or not, depending on the prince's whim. I'm giving you a chance, not a guarantee. But if you take me as patron, I will be your guide in a new reality, and you will assist me, like a child would a sire. Steps and hushed tones can be heard from the side room. It seems like the prince and her counts are returning to the showroom. Kadir appears from downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask me to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes her heartwarming smile towards Kadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard, fastened with a colorful sash around the waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating the first and foremost. Kadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Royal kindred of New York City, Camarilla gathered here tonight. I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. It briefly addresses you. I want you to know that this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything to earn our ire. I do feel genuinely sorrow for what must be done. We are keenly aware of these nights. We need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my council's divergent opinions on this, he takes a look specifically at some people who are left the room before. Rather plainly dressed, a shy-looking man whose skin has somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in defense. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I decide that whether the embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence it's their prodigy that must be punished. The sentence is final death. To be resolved presently, Kadir. You hear a scraping sound and see that the sheriff has sheathed his curved sword. It is a beautiful detailed blade which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs. Bottom of the ninth. This quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. His eyes meet you, and you notice just a hint of sadness in his countenance. One that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he is out to bed. You will not get another chance to speak up. Ask for mercy, I guess? Like, we had to speak to the lady. Escape the gallery is not speaking to the lady. Remain silent is not speaking to the lady. So let's ask for mercy, which is like the only thing we can really do, can we? You make your choice. I am not going down like this, damn it. Spare me. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a little while longer. Cordelia looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall out in a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Mrs. Langley? Yes, if I may. At first, the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood in the room. The board elites suddenly look at you with aroused interest, some of them dismaying at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Kadir's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. Not like I plan to, just let's be serious about that. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance they could become an asset to our domain. Am I to understand you are volunteering to take this silenced child under your protection? Yes, I happen to think they hold a potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. Whispers can be heard again, an incredulous voice or two. A hush, just behead the fucker. Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence! I ask all of you to make note of this moment. I might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced, even more firmly in his stead. Until thy prodigies shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that's a responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I'm willing to guide this fledgling and add to a valuable ally to a sect in a time of need, yes. But I would like to receive the right of destruction over them if it pleases you. Alright, so another choice. Do we remain silent? Do we say, give me another chance to prove myself prince? Or destruction? Hell no. I think the best thing to do right now is stay silent. Like, they are having a discussion. I should probably not interfere. Like, that could only do worse. Its clear tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death, or second death apparently, and keep silent. You decide it's for the best to let Sophie handle this alone and not interject. You have no idea how to handle this eyes wide shut crowd. Prince looks at you as if weighing your worth. She takes another good measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant you what you ask. Let it be known, Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose will become this fledgling's patron. You shall be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant them the right of destruction, if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla. Substantially so. I hope you find this further satisfactory, Mrs. Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, child? Dranina, Prince. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, Dranina. Now, this evening proved to be even more eventful than anticipated, but with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meeting can now conclude. Thank you all for appearing in such short notice. Give my regards to those who could not make it. Kadir, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties. Of course, Prince. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged, and if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Dranina, I think we've both already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. But let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a new fruitful partnership. She raises her hands at one of the well-dressed concierges who have now reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches with a carafe of red liquid. He pours it into 2 glasses. It's blood again, but it's much clear. Oh, that much is clear. You're in 2 minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger will make you wince. You take a tentative sip. You expected the same blend as you tasted a few hours ago, but this one you can actually savor. It's smoky and warm, makes you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a little strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood, but it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think NYC caterers have very bourgeois ideas about what good blood should taste like. Apologies, you must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to substance. Yes, the guy looks like the protagonist of Catherine Bam. I have to agree with you on that. How much higher do I have to drink? Where do you get the blood? And what if I refuse to drink? This doesn't seem like a smart idea, so let's skip that part. How much do I have to drink seems like a best question to ask. And probably then, where do I get to get my blood? I feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? Sad reality is it will never go away. No matter how much you drink, you will always be tempted to have more. Unless you consume someone wholly to their last drop, paying for the temporary relief with your life. But that is a one-way road to losing your humanity. Let's start just by taking little sips for vessel. Be prudent. Hot fresh blood will be more satiating than most anything they will serve in a fancy glass. But it can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, it depends. If you're frugal, you can survive many nights without a single drink. But it's risky and it will tempt the beast that is part of our curse. Tomorrow I shall take you hunting and we will explore the topic further. What you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. Beast? The beast you mentioned, is that a metaphor or... Oh, it's quite real, although not in a strictly physical sense. At least in all of us, our nature and hunger manifest. Those more religious among us connected to the biblical Cain, the rage of the first murderer, cursed by God, seething in all his descendants. I, however, I'm a child of the Enlightenment, so that makes my struggle any easier. I have to be wary, like every other kindred in the city and beyond. Individual kindred each have a unique relationship to their beast. What yours is going to be remains to be seen. But you need to keep it under control. Each outburst endangers not you, but also the Masquerade. The concierge returns, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives with a polite smile, and leans to whisper into her ear. You know that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told that the gallery is just about to close, but we'll have quite a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts up makes you remember the way you felt with the Latina. It's not arousing though, more like magnetic. You find it harder to argue. If though you're still suspicious of her authority over you, her charm momentarily wins you over. Sophie leads you to her luxurious Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a little bit more about our customs. You heard of the prince referred to our traditions. Chief among them is the Masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at the niche gallery after closing time, our comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts, but the vast majority of kind remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a bit more dejected than before. Our clandestine way help us to remain safe. Allow us to explain ways to the occasional trip up to the rational minds of the 21st century humanity and dedicate much of our interaction with mortals. So, what's the flip side? So, like, where are the perks here? If you're a vampire but you need to keep quiet about it, what's the point? There has to be a flip side, right? Don't get me wrong, we have powers. Immense powers, influence over mortals. Immortality has its benefits too, of course. But we have many enemies, and some know our weaknesses well. For one, sunlight burns us, which is why we rest during the day. You felt it, more like being dead than being dormant, isn't it? But we have no choice. We are night dwellers, but day sleepers. Some more folk-related threats are just legends. Or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols don't repel us, unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Takes though through the heart though, that's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze, which, under the right circumstances, can often be the same thing. There's a reason why to have somebody like my trusted driver, Gregory, making sure you're safe and you drift away. With many enemies, and often they know their advantages lies within daylight. So, do vampires watch each other's backs, which sounds like a fair thing to ask. You mentioned enemies, I guess that makes it necessary to watch each other's backs. Can you count on other vampires for that? She surprises you by letting out a soft chuckle before answering. No. Our little sect supply the local interaction and blandly. But it doesn't really encourage counting on somebody. Support given exchange for favors? Yes, that's more like it. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Camarilla, but we are a very politicized organization, but by necessity. Loyalty is to our sire, to our prince, and to the sect. When you're in your side Elysium, like we're tonight, the sect can appear to be monolith. The reality is more complex. Outside of official gatherings, daily deals and a quid pro quo mentality reigns supreme. She seems to be lost in her thought and falls silent for a while, leaving you to ponder all the things you've learned tonight. Feels absolutely unreal, but as piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entire logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you've witnessed. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but one keep returning to is what your place in this new reality should be. The car stops. You're in the city, in front of an old but well-renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? Is it another parking lot room? Sounds like a fair thing to ask, really. Is it another trap safe room in the underground parking lot for my safety and all that? Don't be ridiculous. You're not a silent, fledgling Inquisitor stirring grasps anymore, and even he wouldn't hold you there for any longer than necessary. I think... Come up upstairs. He leads you through a small hall with night guards who greet Mrs. Langley with a good evening, and you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all amenities you could expect from a modern apartment, and some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room has a comfortable looking bed and a thick steel door with several sturdy looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you feel like it? This is great, thank you. I'm glad, make yourself at home. Tomorrow I'll take you hunting and discuss the plot in more detail. I'll let you get comfortable, the keys are by the television set. I will come pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room for a rest. You can lock the doors, just in case. It stings a bit when she leaves. It's like the room suddenly became a few shades dimmer. When you expect the kitchen hoping to find something to drink. Nothing, no regular food either. Feels strange that Kadir could be a more thoughtful host than your new sire, even if only in that respect. Really feel wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns. Kojak reruns. President of the United States got himself in some serious trouble again. President of the United States got himself out of trouble again. Pundits start yelling over each other about things that seems of little less insignificance than 2 days ago. Start drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations and worldwide shattering revelations. How many before you finally understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to the life you've left behind. The people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment, you wonder when you have the chance for either. As you start to feel the same tightness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night, you settle in the back room. The bed is comforting, the lack of windows less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you realize it's the closest you ever come to staring at the sun or a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. A few minutes later, your conscience fades and you take the plunge into darkness again. Sinking, 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 sinking. Alright, let's do one more chapter, guys. And then I think I'll be playing something else for Spooktober. Because my throat is really starting to dry with so much reading. Alright, so we actually have a map here. Let's rest. Hunger is at the heart of a vampire's existence. To ignore it is tempt beasts that take over and its desire to feed. The overindulgence in feeding may threaten the masquerade while staining what humanity you have left. In Coteries of New York, having a high hunger is indicated by progressive We take a blood frame around the screen like the one you see now. Oh, around here. Okay. As your hunger grows, so does it indicate that your hunger may increase when you call upon your vampiric powers or when you need to mend your wounds after a fight. When your hunger reaches the maximum hunger level, you will receive a warning after you complete a piece of the story. Ignore it at your own peril. Some choices might only become visible if your hunger is high enough. Similarly, your high hunger may block off some choices, as you will be able to see after pressing continue. Alright, so blocked off option and continue. Okay. To decrease your hunger, you will need to feed. Whenever you see a feeding opportunity, you can take the risk to hunt and stake your hunger. You will need to keep the hunger at bay if you are to approach Masquerade as a fight united on the